Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of Sour Graps. I'm your host, Alex Pawlowski, and, not everything sucks. That main event was pretty awesome. Kate Hensler's here with me. A lot of things sucked last Thursday. We talked about that.
We sure did.
For a while on Fightful Select. If you subscribe to Fightful Select, you could go back to that Thursday show and hear all of our thoughts about all of the released NXT and main roster superstars, and recently NXT now wasted on the main roster superstars they just cut bait on because they had no good ideas. Also, we have a new thing now. Not only can you send in the super chats via the YouTubes, that's totally fine. We're cool with that too. But also, you could, to give us a little sweeter percentage of the pot, you could go to humperchats.com.
Humperchats.com, people.
That was not a thing I came up with. That was definitely a Sean Ross Sapp idea.
Oh, that's Sean popping himself.
Humperchats.com, and send in your Humper Chats, and we'll also read those live on the air. So that's good. Kate, how have you been since we talked on Thursday and we're all angry about things?
Well, we were angry and we cried.
And we were sad. We were angry and sad. You were mostly sad. I was mostly angry, but we were both.
But yeah, we were in each other's worlds there. I've been dealing with some BS for sure, but doing all right outside of that. Yeah. Trying to think if anything like in wrestling world has been exciting. Like Full Gear is going to be great. Survivor Series got revealed online. I'm the captain of a Fightful Survivor Series team that is stacked with Team Calyx.
That's right. Yeah, I will say, as with you as team captain, picking the rosters, I feel a little slighted not being picked second, because that's as much non-coexisting as we're going to do. But they have to manufacture something. How dare I not be the number one draft pick of Team Calyx?
It's true. I did opt for the guy that hired me.
Yeah, and signs. Yeah. But I mean, seriously, wow.
Well, I knew they'd taken Denise because they didn't want Team Calyx to or they wouldn't want the two of them together. Yeah. So I was like, I know how to ping pong these draft picks. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that I think we should talk about really quickly before we get into the whole rundown. Kevin Owens said in an interview that he was all set after his little War Games appearance in 2019. He was all set to do an extended run in NXT. Like, it wasn't like we were kicking it around. It was like it was all set. It was gonna happen. And then Vince was like, what if we didn't though? And that was it. And it just made me go sad. It made me go from anything else to just sad, because I would have loved to have seen that. Oh. And I do wonder, because that's very close to the timing of when Finn Balor showed up. And I wonder if that was like, we want to do something with a major main roster player coming back to NXT. I wonder if Finn Balor was like plan B, like they were going to do KO and then they did Finn instead.
Yeah, I think they thought, we have these great talents who we're not using. Why don't we satiate somebody and send them back down to NXT? And I think you're right. Just ended up going with Balor instead of Owens, because he had a lot of other great things to do. Most recently, feuding with Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. So.
And that made him so dead inside that he had to just turn back to being a heel on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is definitely I can feel the breakup coming, so let me step up my game to prevent you from leaving thing that they have going on now. But you can tell that he wants to kill himself while he's there, because he almost does every match. There's at least one spot where you're like, that man has a death wish. So.
Yeah. Yeah, please send in all your humper chats at humperchats.com
For chats.
humper
That's a
chats.
good Sean
Yeah.
impression. Holy cow.
I've known him a very long time.
It's been a minute.
Longer than I've known my daughter. Like it's one of those. It's one. So it's one of those deals. But anyway, go to humperchats.com or Dan and Super Chats, and you send in things, and then we read them on the air. One of the things here is a humper chat from HL Mad Larkin, who says, "I would like to start tonight's service with prayer. In the name of the mortadella, prosciutto, and the holy gabagool, may we all have a blessed NXT 2.0 review with Kate, our host, Alex, our other host, and Tony D'Angelo, our spirit. Amen."
Amen.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're just going to be putting on a whole mass at some point. We'll be reading from the book of Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah.
We'll get some nice Catholic guilt brewing. It'll be great.
Yeah. NWA Bad Blood sends in says, why haven't I been picked? I'm a franchise player. Hashtag we are heels. Hashtag heel.
I can answer this, and it's because you're not at Fightful. It was Fightful only Survivor Series, but I did do his wonderful podcast yesterday, the Wrestling Roundtable. It was very therapeutic. I yelled about everything in WWE. It was supposed to be a Raw review, but it was really just an airing of grievances, which is in Seinfeld world supposed to come later. But it it definitely ended up arriving yesterday. So thank you for super chatting. I had so much fun ranting and raving, but you simply have to be a part of Fightful. Because if we were going to do it against Body Slam, that would be for brand supremacy, my friend.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. James Bauer sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. The one positive of this episode is we no longer have to suffer through WWE mistreating and misbooking and messing up Frankie and Ember, I guess. Looking forward to seeing Ember in AEW, we hope. Listen, like for a lot of these NXT releases, just briefly, I feel like they're going to be in a better place. Like whatever this wasn't working. So yeah, that's
yeah, good luck in your future endeavors used to be like almost a little bit sarcastic, and now I feel like it's very real. Like, hey, good luck in your future endeavors because you're better off.
Yeah. And the bad one, Jam Beard says, I've stopped watching WWE TV now. We'll still probably watch the PPVs because if I don't know the terrible storylines, they can't hurt me. It's true. Honestly, if you just watch the pay-per-views and just watch the 2-minute little video package they put before the match, then you're not sitting there for 3 hours every Monday going, what in the world are you people doing? And then it wouldn't be as bad.
I've said for a while that their incredible production is almost to their detriment sometimes because I can watch a pay-per-view and be totally caught up, and it's more compelling than their TV programming when they put these video packages together. So
yeah. We started out the night of NXT getting into the actual show so we can maybe get this done in 2 hours. Fingers crossed. We had Toxic Attraction starting off the night versus the TikTok tag team and Io Shirai. The TikTok tag team is now a raver tag team. Like they came out to like house music and all the lights were going crazy and they were handing out glow bracelets to people. Like when I was in high school in the 90s, raves became a thing. And like there were like a whole subset of kids who went to my high school who would like go to like tents out in the middle of the like a field somewhere and just party for like 12 hours from Saturday to Sunday. And they would have like glow bracelets and they would have like pacifiers that they would coat with certain things, and like it was just a whole thing. And I was like, is that thing still going on? Yeah, I guess it is. It's a different thing now. But man, I don't know. I am old, as evidenced by the fact that I was in high school in the 90s. But for God's sake, like this is like, hey, what are the kids into? I know, raves. And it just, I don't know, is that a thing? People who are young in the chat, is that a thing?
Young people, are you? I'm gonna assume not. But I will say, when I went to like 6th grade dances and stuff, it was very controversial too. They had, I don't know if this was a part of raves or if it was just 6th graders having their own diet raves, but they had these like glow sticks that you would snap and put under your tongue so it looked like your mouth was glowing.
Yeah.
And because I went to Catholic middle school, that was like that was right up there with not leaving enough room for the Holy Spirit while you're dancing. Like, that was very controversial because they were scared you were going to choke and die, I think was the real reason. But they also felt like it was sexualizing glowing dicks or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to say that glowing is A, Naomi's gimmick, and B, like, not necessarily that cool, but it definitely fits in with bright and shiny Skittles on acid, NXT 2.0 opening the show. I do actually, in a shocking turn of events, have positive things to say about this match.
Wonderful.
Really, really refreshing. I thought this was the best Gigi Dolan has looked in general. And I thought this was maybe the most cohesive that like Toxic Attraction has looked overall. I think I really liked, there was one spot where Gigi threw a head scissors and it looked like it was setting someone up. I forget who was in the ring at the time, but looked like it was setting up somebody for those, like a 619. And she just hit her with a huge knee on the apron. Gacy did. So they just looked like more cohesive and not like two individual wrestlers that got thrown together. And Gigi just was a little bit more expressive in the ring. I think because they have the titles, maybe she feels justified in her cockiness, which makes sense. So there were some things I really appreciated there. Io's moonsault is absolutely ridiculous. The only thing that I had like a complaint about ring-wise was the spot where she was taking people out. I think it was Io taking out everybody because she hates everybody on the side. She took out everybody but Mandy with some insane I'm Io Shirai, I jump off things crossbody situation. Yes. And she didn't take out Mandy immediately, and she ended up taking her out after that. And I think what they were trying to do with that spot was set up an individual feud that seems to be inevitable, like coming down the line perhaps. And I just wish they had like sit in that moment of tension, make that work a little bit. I don't know if it was botched, like if it was unintentional, they were trying to think on their feet. But if that's something that we're going to get, I just feel like they could have really like had a moment to set up a story right there, and they just kind of steamrolled past it. So other than that, like the first half hour of this, I didn't hate of the show, and I thought this was an okay opener. I'm similarly not like super into the TikTok tag team, but like this set felt perfectly serviceable to me. Like there was nothing wrong with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fine. And I agree with you. Gigi Dolan, I think, is the most talented of the three in ring. I love that they let her get the pin. That's good.
That surprised me.
That was good. I like that. I like that they're because I really like that. It was like an abdominal stretch bomb. Like that was a really cool. Like it was like a hip toss out of an abdominal stretch into a power bomb thing. It was really cool looking. I liked it a lot. I've never seen that before. That's cool.
That was wild.
Again, I like that she got the victory. I will say it is very funny to watch them. I know they're all of a kind of similar aesthetic, but they have very, very specific looks within that aesthetic. Like Gigi Dolan is basically Rob Halford from Judas Priest. Ridiculous like leather and studs and that captain's hat, and Mandy's Mandy, and then JC Jane is wearing a Debbie Gibson hat. And if you're old enough to know what a Debbie Gibson hat is, you'll be like, that is a Debbie Gibson hat. Yeah. It's a Debbie Gibson hat. And I think it's very fun. I don't know if Debbie Gibson hats are making a comeback like raves. Apparently, in the chat, we're about 80% no, raves aren't a thing.
Yeah,
from
I don't
our
think
younger
so.
audience. And they may be a thing in your neck of the woods, and you may be into raves, and that's fine. Perhaps it's okay. It just felt like it was like, hey guys, we need a new gimmick for you guys. What's hot right now? Raves. And I just like, also, if somebody who's really into raves is handing out things to your children, say no. Just say no on a general rule, because you never know. I'm just saying. Because yeah, what I say, if WWE says Kenshiro, if WWE is trying to tell me that NXT 2.0 would be best experienced while candy flipping, I'll believe them, which I believe is what it's called when you drug a piece of candy and suck on it.
So they were really all in on the rave,
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I don't honestly. I don't know. And I
doesn't that feel a little weird with Naomi still doing the Feel the Glow thing? Like,
I
does
mean,
that feel a little infringement-y?
Like there's all kinds. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they even think it's because it's a different thing. Like she's not raving, that she just likes things that glow in the dark. But I mean, I don't know. It just felt very. It felt different to me. It felt like a low rent version of it, because Naomi is the queen of glow, and that's fine. Yeah. We have the Nerd Guru saying, Io Shirai being pinned by Mandy Rose is a deadly sin in the book of D'Angelovations. When that happens, wrestling will have died. I honestly don't know where they're going with all this. I'm assuming that. Oh, well, by the way, I guess because we're going to talk about this throughout the night, they announced just out of the blue, without any actual fanfare, they announced War Games. They did not announce War Games.
I was just gonna ask you.
And I feel like that's not allowed. Is William Regal like in a broom closet somewhere? Where is William Regal? I'm gonna do a bit later about where is Santos Escobar, but like William Regal. Where's William Regal? You can't announce War Games without War Games. The whole point of announcing War Games is like he announces here's the match we're gonna do. It's gonna be War Games, and like he says War Games. Like so I suppose that it's not War Games. I can't even say it like that because in the tradition, I would every time I would say the word War Games, I would say it. War Games, but I can't do that now because William Regal's not a part of NXT anymore, apparently. So at War Games, we're gonna get probably Io Shirai and Mandy Rose.
At more like Boar Games. Am I right?
Yes.
Nailed it.
I
am really good at this.
Board Games, but spelled BORED.
There it is.
There you go.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
It seems like the perfect lazy NXT follow-up to releasing your Survivor Series teams during college football on Saturday over social frickin' media. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Kenshiro corrects me. It's not drugging candy. It's candy flipping is actually mixing LSD and ecstasy, which sounds like a hell of a time. Let me tell you, like that does. Yes.
I mean, their graphic designers have done that because look at the set.
Yeah. And the Badita One Jam Beard says it's rave girls versus goth girls. All the high school cliques. I do love that it is like we're gonna rumble. Give me all your rave girls and all your goth girls, and let's meet out back by the flagpole.
Bring me your rave girls, your goth girls, your theater nerds.
Okay. I have a question.
Sure.
Are we supposed to infer the MSK has been walking for a week straight, nonstop?
Yep.
How big is Orlando? Like, I feel like if you say a few days, fine, but a full week, I feel like they would have reached their destination by now. Maybe they had to take a lot of breaks to have supplies.
Uh, these vignettes make no sense to me at all.
Well, now we know they're looking for a shaman who at one point had an office in a strip mall somewhere on the other side of Orlando from where they originally were, because that's how long it takes to walk it, I'm assuming. And they here it says we have moved, and they just list an address, not a city, an address. And so Wes Lee gets in his phone and Google Maps it, I guess. Maybe Apple Maps it, depending on what he's into. And he says, okay, that's 400 miles from here. I'm pretty sure, like, if you move your office, we have moved, and it goes 400 miles away. Like, you don't get to tell your clientele who like normally stops by, it's okay, we decided to move into the plaza 6 blocks from here. That's a little sign you leave in the window. If you move from 400 miles, those people aren't going to follow you. You don't need to leave a sign.
Here's how this went down in my head. They were like, oh, we need long-term storytelling. Okay, what do? We put a real long distance for them to walk. They clearly have phones and could take an Uber, but they walked this whole way. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Got nothing, man.
But he says we're gonna fly, but we both stink because we haven't showered in a week. So we're gonna go home, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna go. We'll meet at the airport after we've showered, and then they're gonna join the Mile High Club, because I think they think that is smoking weed on a plane, which you can't do. Like, they frown upon that.
They fine you a hefty fine, I believe.
Perhaps they're going to take edibles. Maybe that's a thing they're going to try and do. They could maybe that may be a thing. That's what the kids are into nowadays. In my stoner,
at their raves.
Yes. In my stoner years, we didn't have edibles. That would have been a lot more fun. Poor lungs. But listen,
what's in your lungs, Alex?
Metal.
That's metal.
Metal
in your lungs.
In my lungs. I have a question, because I'm going to talk about this now as well. Couldn't MSK and the Grizzled Young Vets like come together and get an Uber together to go somewhere? Like,
I think a text message would have helped. Yeah,
I don't know. Grizzled Young Vets. This one made less sense. Grizzled Young Vets drive up and they park and they get out of their car, and they're both wearing like 3-piece designer suits, and like really, really nice suits. And James Drake says, "I'm really hungry," and Gibson says, "Oh, you're hungry? Great, because I happen to have drawn up a plan here crudely on this whiteboard in the hatchback of our vehicle. Let me walk you through it." And it's a con where James Drake pretends to be injured so that Zach Gibson can borrow a guy's phone and hack into his Cash App so he can order food to be delivered to them with the other guy's Cash App. And that happens. Like, it all goes off without a hitch. And then they're sitting on a curb somewhere by a body of water, eating their hot wings, and like, see how easy it is to get food? Like, no, you guys obviously have money. Look at how you're dressed. Walk into a Buffalo Wild Wings and order some wings. It's got to be, if you're already hungry. Is the whole point just to like bilk some rube out of $75 worth of food? Like, I don't understand what this is. Why are they
waiting for a bus last week?
No. MSK was waiting for a bus last week.
He was waiting for a bus.
GYV wasn't on TV last week. GYV is here trying to run small-time con jobs on unsuspecting rubes. And I don't understand what the point of that is. I don't.
I think it's bold of you to assume that there's a point.
I guess I always hope in vain that there might be,
No,
because to
it's
me,
sweet. It's very optimistic.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Because to me, Kate, that's the bare minimum I require, is just for you to attempt to make your bullshit make sense. Just make an attempt. And I don't feel like they're not making the attempt. And I want so badly for the, like, here's the thing. Even if the bullshit you're doing is fantastical and weird and off the wall and doesn't actually adhere to any rules of reality, if you've made an attempt to make that make sense, I'll forgive it. We're going to talk about a segment that does just that later. But like this is, I guess it's based in reality. I don't know if two well-dressed Liverpudlians would run Cash App scams on a guy in Florida, but maybe that's happened in real life at some point.
I mean, it's Florida. It's gonna happen anywhere. It's gonna be in Florida.
True.
I'm sorry if you're from Florida, but you can't tell me that's not a Florida man thing. A crocodile would have scammed someone out of their $75 out of Cash App or whatever.
Yeah,
this made no sense at all. I don't understand what this had to do with any story that they're in or not in. Like, I don't know what this is supposed to be building.
yeah. Yes. So hey, J Shell Nicole, friend of the show of bodyslam.net, wrote my 20th Body Slam article. Happy to see y'all. Happy to see you, J Shell.
Heck yeah, girl.
So proud.
We are so proud. She's my young lioness.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that is. Going back to the Toxic Attraction and TikTok tag team thing, the Rave Girls versus the Goth Girls is West Side Story 2.0, says the bad one, Jam Beard.
When you're a brunette all the way. We can stop the show. I'm not going to do any better than that.
No, that's it. You did
Sean's going to be so excited. 27 minutes. That's it. Wrap it up.
When you're a brunette all the way. From your first vape pen to your last dying day. Oh boy. So the Nerd Guru says, I didn't hate NXT tonight, and I honestly didn't. There was some good stuff in it. But they committed basically treason. They announced War Games without Regal, and it'll be the first without the UE. Sad. Yeah. And Harry Yazawa says, I feel like they're slowly transforming War Games into what Hell in a Cell became for the main roster, a meaningless showpiece. Like, it's just, and
just a pay-per-view.
Just a thing. Like, what? Special. Let's get 4 guys and another 4 guys, and let's do it. Like, War Games used to be a thing that, I mean, coincidentally, it happened the same time every year, but they built feuds over the course of the late summer into the early fall, where it was like, oh no, these guys, these 4 guys hate these 4 guys, and the only way it can be settled is in War Games. It was War Games at that point, but now it just feels like they're gonna like decide, oh, these guys and these guys, let's just do it, and I don't feel like it's gonna work.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be good. Yeah. The frustrating thing, and this is a WWE-wide complaint for me in general, is a lot of the in-ring work is very good. And a lot of the booking and storylines are very bad, which means that the performers are working their ass off to try and make things work, and the creative is bad. So that's a complaint across the board. I give NXT 2.0 a little bit of a break because it's so freaking new. Like, that makes sense. But this is the problem when you have pay-per-views every month with stipulations that you have to back your storylines into instead of the storylines pushing that out the other way, right? Like, you can't organically build to things when you are handcuffed by the stipulations that have already been set for you. I think Extreme Rules was probably the most egregious of those situations where there was Extreme Rules and there were hardly any Extreme Rules matches on it. So that is that is just a frustrating roadblock that they've put in front of themselves is if you're going to do this every month or this frequently, or it's expected, you have to then back into that, even if it means revealing your Survivor Series teams online on a Saturday during college football.
Yep, that was
God.
That was a very weird one. And then let's announce the full one, and then the next night on Raw we'll just take one away because we forgot. Anyway, whatever. So here we go. After all of that, there's we get after that first match, it takes forever for Toxic Attraction to slowly back their way out of the arena, and in doing so, Kaylee Ray walks by, and so Kaylee Ray has a match versus Sarray. And I love both of these ladies. I think they're very excellent. I fear they will be forgotten about or passed over and not used properly because they have decided that Toxic Attraction is the most important thing in all of NXT 2.0. And I think they're fine, but I would not put them at that part of the hierarchy. Anyway, this match was really great and hard hitting, and Kaylee Ray's amazing. I have one quibble. I love whatever the hell that submission maneuver that
I was going to ask if you knew what it was.
Single leg crab where she fully back bridged over perpendicular around Kaylee Ray's body. Like, I have one quibble. If you sink that in as deep as she did, that's the end of the match.
Yeah.
Nobody should be able to withstand that. Like Sarray should finish people with that move. That should be her finisher. And maybe you can get to the ropes if you're right next to him. But Kaylee Ray was in that for too long to not tap out to it. It looked like the most painful thing I've ever seen in my life. And I understand why you want to have Kaylee Ray win the match. That's how I would book it. But it really, really ruins that move to have somebody be in it for that long and not tap out to it, because it looked wicked.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I loved this. I think was match of the night for me, though. The main event was right there. Kaylee Ray had this DDT near the ropes that was just insane.
Yeah.
She had 2 KR bombs that were absolutely absurd. This was such a good professional wrestling match. God, I'm just going to take a victory lap on my CM Punk fandom, because nobody was talking about, like, people were saying sports entertainment versus pro wrestling, but now people are snobby about it again, and it feels great. Like, that promo, now everyone's like, that's sports entertainment, and this is pro wrestling. This was a pro wrestling match, in my opinion. I'm totally with you. I didn't even know what that submission was. A single leg crab something.
It was like a back bridge with a single leg crab. Like, I've never, it was awesome looking.
Always here for stuff I haven't seen before.
Yes.
Like, that rules. I'm with you that her getting out of that is a bad move, because I think that I'm with you in that that's a finisher that should be protected. I get that they're trying to showcase Sarray kind of really for the first time in a match that she could really sink her teeth into, in my opinion. Also, her entrance, all I could think about was It's Always Sunny day, man. I was like, all I could think about was Charlie Day with the sun behind him coming down, because they kept talking about the sun with this entrance. That's all I could think about. So Kaylee Ray, the Night Woman, pulling out the victory here. This was a fantastic match. I'm with you with the concern of where do they go? Where is this going to be a feud? Like, what happens next is definitely a concern here. And I can't even say this match in a vacuum anymore, because I said that on Friday and Sean was like, I thought this match was in a ring, not a vacuum.
Listen, he likes to do that kind of stuff. He does it to me all the time too, and I hate it. It's a common turn of phrase, Sean. It's a common expression.
Okay,
just because you want to be all clever and cutesy, it's a common expression.
Alex, I need you to coexist for my Fightful Survivor Series too.
Oh no! If
So
there's
if
one thing that's not gonna coexist on that team, it's me and Sean.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was funny. Like last night on the show, somebody kind of misquoted me from a Sour Graps episode, and he was like, "Alex is wrong." I mean, all due respect to Alex, but he's wrong. And I was like, A, that wasn't even what I said on the episode, and that was misquoted. And B, how dare you? Like, so yeah,
amazing.
If I had said that, I would have been wrong, but I didn't say that. So,
That's fair.
that's very fair. So we got I think Kaylee Ray is certainly in a better position. I mean, she won the match, but she's certainly probably in a much better position than Sarray is. I don't know these people running this promotion. These people running this promotion, I don't know that they know what to do with multiple people from the same foreign country, except let's make them into a tag team and make them similar. And I don't think Io and Sarray work that way, so I don't know what they're if they know what to do with Sarray. But anyway,
Sarray will get called up when Asuka returns. Obviously,
perhaps
she'll do nothing until then. She'll be great in the ring.
I would love it. I would love it if Asuka came back and was super angry and just wanted to destroy everything, and then Sarray got called up as like Asuka's really happy-go-lucky younger sister who just gets in the way of everything, and Asuka like has to like stop it, you're ruining everything. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't know.
See,
maybe.
that's we joke. That's how you actually do. Can we coexist?
Yeah.
That is how it's actually done. Is organically like that, and then they would have a killer match. Are you kidding me? The two of them
would. Yeah. So here's something that's interesting. If you take the Joe Gacy character and you strip away all of his weird, like, anti the woke left crap, it's an interesting character. Like, he's become an interesting character now that they've quietly gone away from all of that rhetoric and just let him be this weird, creepy, possible cult leader who's got, I don't know, a cousin who's in and out of jail and maybe has murdered at least a few people. And he's got some problems and he's the only guy who can get through to them. Like, that's like, I have no faith that where this is going is anywhere good, but this Joe Gacy is infinitely more interesting to me than the guy who says, here's a bunch of buzzwords I've been told I have to say because it's going to trigger some people. And instead he's just playing a character now. And I actually enjoy it. At least a little better than I have been before.
Oh, me too. I genuinely enjoy this right now. I think I said it last week that I sincerely think they thought they were going for a younger crowd, and they're so obsessed with booking heat. They thought no one would piss off the next generation doing this. And they were right, and they tuned out instead because they're not going to sit around and watch your dumb product. So I think I like this idea of it works as a heel if the idea is I have to throw these inclusion type things at you to pull out this angry side of you. Like, that actually really works and really well. Getting away from the buzzwords for sure, but like leaning into the you deserve to be loved and accepted side of it to draw out this animal of a human. I think that is very compelling. And also Joe Gacy's great in the ring. Like, let's talk about that. Like, he can really go. He's a great wrestler. And he has had a handle on this the whole time. And they've really, I think, tried to pivot away from what they were doing. And he's done that pretty seamlessly, which I feel like he deserves a lot of credit for, because that is a very, very tricky thing to make it feel continuous of the same character, but to take such a hard turn so early in it. I'm intrigued by this. I really like this. I think the Gunnar Harland, Parker Bordeaux situation, if he's very green, I can only assume. I don't mean ring wise, but like he's just been there a very short time. This could really work. Like this could be something that makes him feel like a monster. He can come in and just toss jobbers around for a while until he gets good. This is kind of something maybe they should have done with like an Omos or someone in that vein, where like now we're seeing the cracks. Like this could actually be developmental to something. So I think this is really good. I like the direction it's headed in, if this is the course that they're going to stay. So fingers freaking crossed.
Yeah. His pre-match promo was basically all about Boa, his match with Boa, and how Boa is like trying to find who he really is and how he has to hide behind a mask, i.e. makeup, and a different character than who he really is, and blah blah blah. And that's how tragic that is, that you feel like you can't show yourself, your true self. I think that's interesting. Like he's using that in a way to like try and manipulate people. The match is whatever the match is. There's some interesting stuff from both guys, but the match I was watching was like, oh well, this Boa guy, because he's got the face paint now. He's got the Mei Ying face paint. We saw that last week where he kind of subsumed the identity of Mei Ying, who disappeared while he was having his match. And I was like, if that, like, fine, we're doing that. It's no weirder than Andre Chase having his own university. Fine, whatever.
Sure.
But that is apparently what they have done, because at the end of the match, the lights go all funky and he goes in a trance and he raises up the Tongan death grip hand, and he does the Tongan death grip to Joe Gacy through the ropes, and the 5 count happens and he's disqualified and he like backs away like let's get nuts, people. You're doing the weirdest. You got like these gimmicks are all friggin' nuts. If you're gonna tell me that like Boa trained under this 5,000-year-old dragon lady who like vaporized and put her essence into him, and now he can do her finishing maneuver. Okay, fine. You've actually done all the dots. You've connected all the dots. You've actually attempted to make it make sense, even though it's fucking way out of this world crazy. But as long as you've actually done all those dot connecting, I'll go there with you. I have no idea where you can go from here with this gimmick, except for just doing this same thing in every Boa match from here on out. But maybe Mei Ying comes back if he starts to lose. I don't know. But right now I'm like, sure, let's do this. Again, it's no crazy. You had MSK walk across Orlando for a friggin' week. It's no crazier than that.
I just don't know. Okay, first of all, he's got like David Bowie face paint and his name is Boa. I get it. The other thing is, I don't know at what point we're not supposed to be like insulted for Bray Wyatt on his behalf with this whole thing. His theme coming in sounded like that original Wyatt theme.
Yeah. Joe Gacy was definitely, it's been based on that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the red lights at the end is just like, okay, we've seen it with Bray.
Yeah.
We've seen it with the Demon. And let's talk about the last time you gave us the Demon, because you gave us the worst finish like ever with that character by cutting the top rope. So sure, fine. I don't know why you released Bray Wyatt when he's making, well, because of his attitude.
The same attitude that Keith Lee had, same attitude problem, which is, hey guys, I think this creative stinks.
Yeah, this is bad.
Well, you have an attitude problem.
You have an issue when we're making you a Bearcat Lee. Hey, can you not ruin everything that I've built for the past 2.5 kind of decade? Nah, you have an attitude problem. You should be... Randy Orton should come out of a Jack in the Box at WrestleMania to you. We know what's best for your character. So it just felt very, very The Fiend, and just made me think about how they released that guy. But they have at least connected the dots in their own universe. You are correct about that. I don't know where it goes. I think the fact that he's kind of controlled by something outside of himself at least adds a little intrigue. It's not like he has supernatural powers. It's more like he's under a spell of some sort. So
Yeah.
there's at least something to play with in that regard. But I just was like, yeah, this feels like the Fiend.
It's every bit of a stupid recycled supernatural gimmick. And yet I'm willing to forgive a lot of it because they connected the dots. And that's honestly, like, that's the bare minimum for me. Once you do that, I'm willing to give you a little bit of rope. Now you may hang yourself with it, but I'm willing to give you that rope, and we'll see where we go from here. But yeah, I thought it was funny that, like, Joe Gacy, who basically got strangled to death, almost, if messed up with the fight count. He's like, he turns to the camera and says, "Harland, we did it." I don't know what you did. I don't know.
Do you think that there's no chance that Joe Gacy's going to recruit him, right? He's not going to create a stable of weirdos.
Oh boy.
That's what I was wondering if that line was.
A coterie of crazy people, a menagerie, if you will. Like, I honestly, just it would make these more entertaining. Like, I have no hope that that any of this is going to be good. Some of it may be good because the in-ring workers are so good, but like they have no ability to tell stories on this brand. So go as crazy as you want. Right? Let me laugh at it. Maybe it'll be entertaining. I don't know.
We don't have like an island of here's what I want. I want Boa and Harland and Joe Gacy, and then I want another stable of murderers with Dexter Loomis.
Yeah.
Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah.
And Goldberg. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. The Nerd Guru says, do you guys think Aaron Rodgers is a fan of this Joe Gacy character? Not this one, but the one from a few weeks ago. Sure. Yeah. The woke mob. So by the way, just because I want to make sure we don't lose these are a lot of just awesome Humper Chats. Humperchats.com. Go there, and that Humper Chats. We get a lot of we get a sweeter piece of the pie if you go to humperchats.com. But you can always as well send the Humper Chats through the YouTubes.
And we had a couple matches that hump today, so it at least feels apropos.
Yeah. NWA Bad to Blood says, this is how we do it on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. We fully support Team Kalex. People humper chat these guys. # support Team Kalex for life. Thank you, Bad Blood.
Thank you so much. Humperchats.com, baby.
J Shell Nicole of Body Slam says, hi guys, it's # Sour Graps Shelly. Hi, J Shell.
Hi,
you know I love you guys so much. Trying out the Humper Chat stuff today. Sending well wishes your way, Kate. One step closer to Punk Kate. Don't forget.
J Shell is in love with Carmelo Hayes at the end of this and Daniel Garcia. So she thinks, well, what happened was she said she wants to manifest marrying a wrestler by 25. And I said, when neither piece of that works out for you, know that God was protecting you. You're not smart enough to get married at 25. Don't marry a wrestler, sweetheart. And she said, she got me back though. She's smart. She said, I'd be one step closer to CM Punk, which is how you get me on anything. So touche to her.
That's good.
Thank you for sending in a Humper Chat.
Yeah. Shauna Walensky sends in # Kalex appreciation chat for the Debbie Gibson reference. Thank you, Shauna, for not being a youngin' with me. And then the Beaker shirt. That's my Beaker shirt. It's actually it's him as Ryu from Street Fighter, and the you can't see it, but it says Meep Fighter instead of Street Fighter.
Oh my god!
It's one of my favorite shirts.
That?
Some website years and years ago. I don't know which one.
I need 40 of them.
And then she also says, shout out to Kate's awesome dad jokes. Love you guys. We love you, Shauna. Thank you so much.
That's what happens when my dad's in the chat. I pick up the dad jokes. I don't know what my excuse is the whole fucking rest of the week, but
Knocked Bogan sends a super chat saying, going into work now, and let me say it's hard not to corpse in front of a bunch of cranky old men overnight who don't understand YouTube because of your commentary sometimes. Keep cool, Gabagool.
And also
thank
with
you
you.
so much. And also with you, Knox Bogan. Thank you so much for the super chat. The Nacho Man Normie Summers says, I'm too juicy to finger out Humper Chat on a WWE breakout here for Kalex. But on WWE break, but here for Kalex. May Gabagool be with you and also with you. Budget cuts can kiss my grits. Yeah, budget cuts.
They can. It's not hard to figure out Humper Chats. You just got to go to humperchats.com.
There you go.
And while we're promoting things, please leave a thumbs up on this video. It helps people find us. And please go to FightfulSelect.com where, oh man, there's just so much news coming out all the time.
Yes.
Sean is breaking more news than Tony D'Angelo is breaking hearts.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
LuchaBat13 sends in a super chat saying, hi, Team Kalex. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday, LuchaBat. Can't think of a better way to close this day out. You guys rock. Could Tony D or Mr. Regal sing me happy birthday?
I think both of them should.
I think they should have a duet, I think. Okay, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear LuchaBat. Happy birthday to you. And one for old time's sake, War Games!
Hey!
Yes, I am a jukebox for your weird impressions. One of the things that I found out tonight, I love that I'm turning you into the dark side, Kate, because you sent out like, hey, the first half hour this was pretty good, but now it kind of sucks. And I was like, yes, give in to your anger, give in to your hate. I
sure did.
I will always be Palpatine to your Anakin, always, forever. So let's get back to the rundown, people. Braun Breaker and Tommy Ciampa have been overseas doing the I think they're still overseas right now, doing the UK tour, and they're running triple threats with Sami Zayn for some reason. I'm assuming it's for the NXT title. Can you imagine if somehow Sami Zayn were to win the NXT title and show up? That would be really fun, but they're not going to do that.
Fuck it. Why
not? The whole point of this is so Tommy Ciampa can pin Sami Zayn and not pin Braun Breaker, because he must be strong even in the house shows.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy Breaker's little promo that he recorded backstage at an event, because it was really interesting. Like, I didn't think about this. Like, first time being in front of a really big crowd.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool thing to let this, like, that's a lot of faith to show in this guy who's basically been doing this for a year, and that's it. To be like, yeah, we're going to take you to Europe. We're going to let you cut your teeth in front of an audience like who really doesn't know who you are, and let's see where this goes from here. That's cool that he apparently is killing it.
Not to be stereotypical, not like known for showing their emotion over there in the UK. But they do love wrestling, so there is that. I want so bad for him to start slowly turning into Steiner, and if someone was like, hey, how long was your flight? Him to be like, well, if you take the time that we took off and the time that we landed, that'd be so great.
It would.
Right?
I want him to just wear headgear and a dog collar and a big leather jacket at one point, and just have him like, hey, what's with the outfit? What are you talking about? And
did not acknowledge it.
Never acknowledge it.
Never
acknowledge it. And then the next week he comes out wearing sunglasses. He bleaches part of his goatee. He's got the chainmail on. What's your deal? Like, what are you talking about? And he's never just like lean into it all the way. If you're gonna like, don't make him like half Steiner and half not. Like, don't change his name. Give him the extra consonant. Like, actually, if you're gonna do it, like, have fun with it. But they never would. They don't have fun with anything.
No, they're not fun.
apparently, your comment about not marrying wrestlers has speared Brendan Towngate. Now he wants a new version of a classic song. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to marry wrestlers. That'd be good.
We all know Dark Side of the Ring exists, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Just
to clarify what I was saying. There's a lot of really great, wonderful people that are wrestlers. I wouldn't make it a goal to marry one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But good picks, though. I will say that.
Yeah. So last week on a thing they just released it on Twitter. It was a little backstage thing with Kushida and Ikemenjiro. And they're still wearing their headgear and their singlets, and then they get interviewed. And I won't do the accent because that's problematic. But Ikemenjiro says, I am Japanese, you are Japanese, we are both Japanese. And I feel like that's basically the reason to put them in a tag team, according to Bruce Pritchard. He is Japanese, you're both Japanese, tag team. And
that's the promo they gave.
Yeah, that's literally the promo. And then they were like, they wanted to make something up. Their tag team has to be something with a jacket. And Kushida says, no, it should be something with time. And then the interviewer, Mackenzie Mitchell, says, how about jacket time? And they're like, yay, jacket time. And they say, jacket time. And I feel like Kushida is arguably one of the top 3 or 4 wrestlers of his generation, globally. And this is not the best way to use him. To like, you put him in a tag team with Ikemenjiro, fine. That could be fun. I'm not going to begrudge you that. Making it a comedy act and calling it jacket time because Shawn Michaels and Bruce Pritchard and everybody is back there snickering to themselves. Jacket time. Get it? Because they're jacking it. Yeah, no, jacket time is what your nephew calls it when he disappears into his bedroom for a few minutes carrying a box of tissues. That's jacket time. And the thing of it is, I thought, oh, maybe they're just going to call it that for like this week and they're not going to really make it into a thing. Nope. They have a Titantron like that has like graphics where they've done art for them as jacket time. And I've oh no, Kate.
Kushida is an All Japan Tag Team Tournament winner. He's a Lucha Libre championship holder. He's an IWGP Junior Heavyweight champion. He's an IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team champion. Multiple time Junior Heavyweight champion. Best of Super Juniors, Super J Cup, Super Junior Tag Tournament, ranked number 20 out of 500 wrestlers in PWI, and your ROH World Television Champion. He's also one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. And you put him, not you, Alex.
No, not me.
You people.
Yeah.
Not even you people in the chat. You people in WWE Creative in a promo where his tag team partner said, I'm Japanese, you're Japanese, we're Japanese. I couldn't really focus on the match, which is a shame. Because it was probably great, because pretty much everyone in it could really wrestle. I just, in the gap of insulting things to professional wrestling fans, a multi-time IWGP champion, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world,
well, like, if all you
reduced to literally the fact that he's Japanese and that being a good enough reason to tag with someone is, we could have a segment on here called just the wildly insulting thing of the week. This was that this week was just the wildly insulting. The words that we said are, you're of a nationality, I'm that same nationality, and ergo we are a tag team essentially. What? This is what you have for fucking Kushida.
The thing of it is, and I keep thinking about this, if all you know him from is he's running NXT.
He's a cruiserweight champion.
He's a cruiserweight champion, briefly, basically, and he's had some great matches. But you don't. There's no way that they have booked him since he's been here anything close to what he actually is.
Oh no!
And so you'd watch it and go like, oh, hey, that guy used to be tagged, cruiserweight champion. I remember his match with Kyle O'Reilly and his match with Pete Dunne a few months ago. Those were really great matches. Is this what they're going to do with him now? I guess he is kind of funny. I didn't realize he was a funny guy. And that's the thing, is that once Vince realizes you're a funny guy, that's all you are. Funny. That's all you are. And yeah, it's
this whole thing, it seems like WWE talent that have New Japan history and will end up back in New Japan, their whole run now is just setting up for people to get dunked on in the G1 by their opponents. Yeah. That's all this is.
Yeah.
All the promos in the G1 are like, hey, remember the dog shit you were in WWE? That's all it is. So thank you, WWE Creative, for giving New Japan something really great to use 5 years down the road. You're right in that the booking around Kushida was terrible. He had great matches with O'Reilly. Velveteen Dream is obviously a piece of shit, but they had a great match.
Yeah.
Can't take that away.
And Gargano, that was a fun feud. God. That was a really good feud. But I mean, again, he's been booked as like an upper mid-carder who maybe you think would have been in contention for top titles, but wasn't for a lot. He was injured for part of his run, but like if all you know him from is NXT, you would have no clue that he's, again, one of the very, very best wrestlers of his generation. And ShotKid29 says Kushida being in a team called Jacket Time was enough to keep me from watching. Also, I asked this last night, but how much longer will NXT UK last? Honestly, I have no idea. Like,
I don't know if they have an idea.
Like they just did a UK tour,
right?
They just did a UK tour. You're telling me they couldn't? Honestly, you're telling me instead of Sami Zayn being in this triple threat thing, like they couldn't have added, maybe it's a triple threat, but now it's a fatal four-way because we're adding Tyler Bate to it, or Trent Seven, or whatever, or whatever, whoever one of the top people over there is. Like maybe you have Ilya Dragunov defend the NXT UK title on the tour in NXT UK, give a spotlight to these guys who are, right there. And maybe you could actually get more viewership to the thing from their own country. Like I don't know, man. They certainly do not seem to be thinking along those lines, though.
No, the fact that they didn't air there, it was recorded, thankfully, Walter and Cesaro. They better have that footage. Yeah, like I have to see that match.
Release the Walter Cesaro cut. We must see it.
Leave the cannoli.
Yeah. Luis Polito says, who's our wonderful mod who handles all these super and humper chats, says, just a reminder that Kushida is the only wrestler to win the Singles Wrestling World Cup. I am sad. And the bad to one, Jam Beard says Kushida is going to be the next Tozawa, sadly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
And then Brendan Towngate says pairing wrestlers due to them being from the same country is frustrating to say the least. Not everyone from Japan thinks the same or likes the same things.
No
Do better
way.
to WWE. And then he says, insulting is a much better word than frustrating. Thank you, Kate.
Oh, you're welcome for the more precise language. But to your point, yeah, that would be like say Team Kalex, who's obviously ring technicians, like brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Say we went to Japan and they were like, you're American. We're American. And that was just like enough for us to be, I'm gonna take some years off of our life and call us Super Junior tag team. Why not? Let's put us in the Super Juniors while we're doing this.
Yeah.
It's so insulting. It's insulting enough just to reduce anybody to just their race. Like, that's just a wildly insulting thing to do. Never mind to just have the promo be,
Yeah.
"You are this, I am also this, we are this." Like, my word. I
Yeah.
kept waiting for them to say something else. Like, I kept waiting for a rest of the promo, but that was essentially it.
Yeah.
And then Malcolm Bivens saved our lives as usual.
Yes. Yeah. And then we got the match, and thankfully they weren't wrestling in their Halloween costume. I was worried that they were going to have Jacket Time beat the Creed brothers, who don't need to be beat by anybody right now. They should be on a hot streak, keep winning. Or I'm like, why do that? Like, you have Jiro, like, he should get the pin, and he got pinned, and that's correct. That's a good way to do it. He was disrobed of his jacket, and I appreciate Wade Barrett go, "Oh no, that jacket to him is like the luchador masks," and I thought that was funny. I thought that was good. But yeah, this is what it was supposed to be. We had a little promo from Malcolm Bivens, who talked about these guys are a joke, and they are absolutely written to be a joke. It's not funny, it's not a funny joke, but they are written to be a joke. And while you were doing this, Roderick Strong was beating Odyssey Jones on 205 Live again, because that's the thing that they do now. And 205 Live has become NXT's version of Main Event. Like, you can get it on Hulu. It's other things that aren't really related to anything. You can watch it if you want, but we don't expect you to. That's basically what 205 Live is. So this match ends. They beat him up, and then they beat him up, and then Odyssey Jones makes the save, and now we're gonna get a 6-man tag next week of Odyssey Jones and Jacket Time versus the Diamond Mine. And my question is, are we gonna have cruiserweight championship matches at any point, at anywhere near the near future? Because I know Odyssey Jones isn't underweight, unless the cruiserweight championship is no longer a cruiserweight championship. It's just like like the European championship or something. Like, I don't know what it is now, but I would love for Roderick Strong to have wrestling matches against guys who are under the limit and actually have a feud for the cruiserweight title. That would be nice. Although most of those guys were released, so I guess that's not possible.
That was gonna be my point. The other person I could think of would be, like, Kyle O'Reilly's got to fit the bill for that, right?
Sure. And
But
you could actually have Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly, which is a match you never did after the UA breakup.
Correct. That was my thinking. Maybe they're literally waiting to see what happens with Kyle O'Reilly. Like, they very well could be like.
But in the meantime,
of course. First of all, for you to imply
somebody else.
Odyssey Jones is not a high flyer, how dare you? But I did just want to take a moment to. I put over Malcolm Bivens a lot. There's something really great about managers who, no offense to the hot ladies, but aren't a hot lady or an authority figure, that just go out and do what Malcolm Bivens is doing. I really, really appreciate managers that fit molds that are not those things, because A, we just see them so much, and B, they always kind of end up at the same place every single time. So I just really appreciate having a manager that his sole purpose is to manage these guys and get them great matches and move them along in the storyline and be their mouthpieces. Because those, what do you call them? Loaves of white bread. They can't talk. You can just tell, which is fine. But like, this is so well done. Like, he's great at going in there, doing exactly what he's supposed to do and executing it perfectly. Because I feel like authority angles always get so mangled, and babes usually conflate things in some romantic turn of events or whatever. Like, something happens there, right? So it's just really nice for me as a fan that likes managers, that I love Bobby Heenan, I love Jimmy Hart, like, people that go there, do their job, and there's just so much value in that. And at the time that Malcolm Bivens was Stokely Hathaway, there were like no managers on the indies, and I'm so glad that he got the recognition that he deserves, because he's really, really great at this. And the fact that they finally have a stable that doesn't seem to be changing constantly anymore for him to sink his teeth into is great. So I just, even though today's promo was just kind of like in and out and whatever, didn't do a ton, like just overall, it's so great to have someone that can speak on behalf of a bunch of people that are great in every other aspect of this business, but that one, like it's a very valuable position, and I think it goes under the radar sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you. They don't really seem to use managers in the way they should be. They're invaluable, but like the only one that's allowed to do it kind of on the main roster is like MVP kind of, but he's forced to work whenever he's healthy. And Heyman, and that's it. Like basically they were going to be forced into using B-Fab as a de facto manager / valet for Hit Row, and they were like, no, we'll just fire her instead. So, you know,
we talked on our airing of grievances episode last week too about how Zelina was like the thing that carried that company. Her stable of dudes during like early pandemic times was like the only thing that was going on Raw. Yeah. So it's something that's very valuable. They're also not as stable heavy as like an AEW or
right.
I mean New Japan or whatever. So you don't have as many managers when you don't have as many stables. But yeah, I'm all for that. I think it's a great it's just a great device in wrestling when it's used properly.
Yeah. We have our weekly storyline. It's long-term storytelling. JW Pringle says, "Hi, Kate's mom and dad. Y'all are great parents. If you're looking to adopt a 43-year-old, I know a guy, gabagool." And Paul Hensler replies, "Hey, JW Pringle. Not looking to add to the family at the moment, but thanks for the vote of confidence." Tune in
my
next
parents
week.
Do rule, but I think my dad's the heel in this situation now because he said, no, you're not allowed into our family.
Please, sir, will you adopt me? No!
No. It's our bloodline. All right, JW Pringle, get out.
We the ones! Yeah. Yeah, gosh. The next thing, Mark Losper says, in a field full of insulting things, this ethnicity-based tag team BS they're throwing at Kushida has to be top 5. Think of the ground that covers. It's true. It's true. That is a lot of ground to cover. They also interview Solo Sikoa backstage, is bombed by is interview bombed by Grayson Waller and Lawrence Aloysius Knight, and a triple threat match is made by Solo Sikoa. Like, I just love that he's like his third week here, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys stop jabbering at each other. How about you versus me tonight?" And then it gets made. Like, I just love this idea. But William Regal is just depressed. He's just sitting in his office with all the lights off, just staring at the wall, and somebody knocks on his door and says, "Mr. Regal, is it okay if Solo Sikoa fights Grayson Waller and Larry Knight in a 3-way?" And he goes, "Whatever you want." And that's it. And then that's it. He says, "I don't care. I don't bloody care." What if this is turning him into like Pete Dunne's long lost father, which was a thing I wanted him to do so bad, like in 2018, because he hated him so much. He hated Pete Dunne so much. I wanted him to be like, this is why I do what I do, Dad. You left, and I've always been like. I thought it was so great. I would have been so. I would have popped for it so hard.
Extremely in on that idea. Yeah, he creates. So I'm more in on, what do you call him? Lawrence Aloysius?
Lawrence Aloysius, yeah.
Yeah, I'm more in. See, the reason I had to ask was because both in my notes and on Twitter, I called him Eli Drake today. because this felt a little more like Eli Drake to me.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. Like they're still kind of feuding over a Halloween costume. It's very confusing.
Yes.
But I think he did a good job of trying to cover up the absolute nonsense that is. So that ruled. But it felt like he came in with some like more sincere fire. I think because it wasn't like directed at us and a wrestler. He just came in and was like, "Hey, screw you, pal." I actually really liked that. Grayson Waller, he does not read as a face to me at all. He seems so punchable. Like, do you feel like he's a face?
No, but like he's in this version of NXT, sure. Why? Because he likes to have fun, and people who like to have fun can't be bad guys. I think it's stupid. I think he's totally punchable. I've never been into him. Back when he was teaming with Drake Maverick for no reason, I didn't understand it. When he said, "Hey, Roderick Strong, I want a shot at your cruiserweight title," even though I clearly weigh over 220 pounds. Like that was weird. I still don't get why he wears the boxing shorts and the football wide receivers gloves. I don't get that either. It's very odd. But he
just got out of practice from Chase University's football team. Yeah, so yes. Wide receiver gloves on.
Yeah. When you say that they're feuding over a Halloween costume, we hold on. We get a super chat from TDX 1138. It says Edge and Booker T feuded over a shampoo commercial. So it's true.
I mean, also not great.
Also not good.
I understand your defense. Also not great. Also would not have run that angle between those two performers.
But so they do this match later. And they do actually what I thought was kind of a interesting little honest, I wouldn't mind if they did this like every week. It was a slickly produced thing where it was Solo Sikoa who was working the heavy bag, and he walked directly into the camera, and the camera pulled out, and it was Lawrence Aloysius Knight doing something. And then he walked into the camera, and it pulled in. It went directly into Grayson Waller, who was swiping right on somebody on Tinder, because that's his only character trait, is that he likes women of all hair colors. And
diversity. That'll be next. I'm a redhead. You're a redhead. We're redheads.
Well, yeah.
God grant me the serenity.
Solo Sikoa wins this match. I don't really have much to say about it. It's a lot of it is just like can they coexist in a triple threat match, like Grayson Waller and LA Knight like taking turns, like, hey, you and me should team up and beat him up, which is not what baby faces do with heels. Like, no. I don't like it's weird. And then they would turn on each other for a while. They would try and one up each other with like, who can jump higher to hit an elbow drop. And then eventually Solo Sikoa is like, just stop it. Just stop it. I'm going to ruin all of you. And then he does. And that's it. That's good. I thought that was fine.
There was the one spot in the corner with the one-upmanship where I'm going to call him Blonduso because that just makes me laugh. Was just like hanging out while they were deciding who was going to... Like, that stuff I hated, but they really put him over. I'll say that much. Like, the match was good enough. You're right that heels and faces aren't supposed to be like, we're allies. But if the goal was to make him look great coming out of it, I think they did that. There were some really cool spots with Sikoa, too, where he did... I forget. There was a double move in there. I don't know if it was a double choke slam or... Like Bianca Belair did that like double power bomb. It almost felt like in the same vein as that. I can't remember what the actual spot was. Don't have it written in my notes. But like there were some cool moves. He's a brick house of a dude who moves really well. I'm just kind of with you where I'm like, call him up to the bloodline, man. Yeah. Like he seems the most ready of the new class in that regard of like, I understand the trajectory that he's probably on.
And I'm not gonna flip out about him jumping the line when he obviously is very ready in ring to just, you don't ask him to do too much Don't tell him he's got to reinvent the wheel and he's going to be fine. And he's got a natural connection to a top act, which is going to make him into a star.
That also needs help right now.
Yeah,
like that could use could really use something fresh.
So something fresh, and also a storyline is perfect. Like if the Usos keep getting embarrassed by the New Day, then you have Roman get on the phone to the island and bring in like an honest to God hitman who's going to come in and hurt some people.
And it's Tony D'Angelo.
And it's Tony D'Angelo. But the Nerd Guru agrees. He says Solo Sikoa has already outgrown this show. Have one of the Usos disappoint Roman so much that he replaces one of them with Solo Uso. Money right there. Solo Uso is so good. Solo Uso is a perfect name because he doesn't do tag team shit. He just goes in there and beats people up. Like, I don't know, like there's a bunch of like eminently punchable guys on the SmackDown roster that he could just go in there and wreck. Like, it's like, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. You're building Boogs for some reason. Honestly, I don't know. But if you're not going to actually push him to make him a champion, and please God, don't do that. The point is, if he's been tossing people all over the ring and he looks really strong, have Solo Sikoa come in and beat the ever-loving dog crap out of him because he's been protected up until now. Like, you could do stuff like that if you wanted to.
I would love it if he came and took out everything that I'm just sick of. So like that, Madcap Moss, like all of the goofy shit that I can't stand. But like it has to be customized to everything that I want him to take out. But this is something that WWE usually does kind of well, is that they'll put guys like that in your Royal Rumble. And so they'll have like a cool spot and maybe fans are attracted to something like that. And then he organically fits into a storyline. Like if you want to save it for then, I think that could be really cool because Roman's going to have something for Mania. Obviously, he's not going to drop the title before that by any means. So that could be really cool timing is he makes his debut in the Royal Rumble. People are like, oh shit, he did that. Probably a frog splash. He did something cool in the match. And then he has this organic storyline that gives you another few months to work with him to explore what he has. And then I'm with you. I don't feel like it's hot shotting when there's a storyline that is organically waiting for you on the main roster that needs you and that you could be really valuable to. So
yeah,
I'm into that. He looked really good in this match. He looks very polished. He knows exactly what he's doing in there.
TDX 1138 says Solo Sikoa to be renamed as Bray Breaker next. Because I'm probably just going to keep giving everybody new names.
Not new names, the same new name.
The same new name. Yeah, we're going to recycle the name.
Everybody's a Breaker.
Everybody's got a new name. So we got let's catch up with Toxic Attraction as they leave. Like Toxic Attraction is their new Poochie. If Poochie is not on the screen, everybody should be asking, where's Poochie? And that's Toxic Attraction. They're leaving, they're all walking out. They all took the same car. They all carpooled, of course, which is good for the planet. And they're like, hey, so save it. So what? You're going to ask us how we feel about our win tonight? Well, just so you know, there's going to be a lot more where that came from. Like, you didn't have to be that aggressive. They were just wanted to say like, how you doing? What's going on? Yeah. But it was kind of like, we are going to be wearing these titles till you pry them off of our hot dead bodies.
Okay. That I actually popped for because I totally 9,000,000%. If you watch Gigi Dolan when she was Priscilla Kelly, she would absolutely say that. I feel like I popped for that one line, but the rest of this was stupid. And the motorcycle just entering the picture.
The motorcycle was like a secondary thing because I just love Randy Rose going, oh, and Kaylee Ray. If you think your little stare down was supposed to scare me, it didn't. Well, it should. Because Kaylee Ray will eat you for breakfast, Mandy Rose.
Did you see her DDT earlier?
Kaylee, I fully expect like Kaylee Ray be like, well, I mean, they're probably going to release me anyway. How about one for real? Like just to see what happens if you like to take this thing for realsies, Mandy Rose. And then she like disrespects Io. And like these Mandy Rose, like I'm gonna say it, main roster failure. Mandy Rose as NXT champion hurts me personally. Like they gave her lots of chances, and they didn't, because maybe the chances they gave her before didn't work. And this is her new thing. You're not good enough to have to hold the championship on the main roster, but you are good enough for us to hot shot you to the top championship in NXT. And that hurts me personally because I do not think that's how it should work. But that's
so I half agree with you.
yeah.
The NXT women's division for Save the Four Horsewomen is, up until the reboot, has been consistently much better than the main roster. So her coming back here to win this title feels like a disservice to women's wrestling, because this, I say it all the time, this is like the AA Yankees beating the shit out of the Bronx Bombers. Like, they would continually be a better product to wrestling fans, and the women's division in particular was like right up there with the Impact Knockouts, right? So her winning that title feels like a disgrace to, like, I don't want to say disgrace, because she's actually perfectly serviceable.
She's fine.
She's exactly fine in the ring.
The implication is you weren't able to get it done on the main roster, but you can get it done like that in NXT
down here.
I don't think that's a good thing to say. Like,
I don't think it's a good thing to say, but I also feel like the main roster did her dirty so many times that I don't think it's that. I actually think she could have done it with the right trajectory. It wouldn't have been my favorite thing in the world. Carmella's wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but it worked enough. The stuff with her and Sonya, that should have been a blowout. But didn't. That seemed to have gotten sidetracked for very real life reasons when Sonya had to exit. I didn't hate her and Dana. I know you weren't a fan of that, but her and Otis storyline was like kind of, that worked. Her and Otis worked. It was over as hell. So
it worked, and it was over. And then they said, no, we're going to split you guys up in the draft. That was their choice. They said, it's not working. We're splitting you up. And we're also going to take the briefcase off of Otis because we made a terrible error. Like, it's that gif of Will Arnett saying, I've made a huge mistake. That's basically what they did with Otis in the Money in the Bank briefcase. But also they said, we're going to do this storyline with you and Sonya was 1,000,000% the star of that storyline.
Yeah.
And they put Mandy over because they said Sonya's going to go away for a while to deal with some real life stuff. And they put Mandy over, and what did Mandy get out of it? Nothing, which shows they had no confidence in her. And I mean, maybe they should have, but yeah, I haven't seen when they've given her a shot. I haven't seen any spark. Like, when they give Liv Morgan a shot, like, the crowd responds. I can see her in the ring. She's really improved. I've seen Mandy Rose plateau over the last couple of years, and the crowd doesn't care on the main roster. And then she gets dropped down to NXT, and now, okay, now we're just going to reduce you to a one-dimensional thing. Like, I think she can do more than that. But this character being shoved directly into the top spot, not even just like in the women's division, but it feels like in all of NXT, because whenever they show, here's what's happening in NXT this week, they do an ad for it on Raw, it's always toxic attraction. So they're saying this is the thing, this is the reason to watch NXT, and it feels like, well, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's all very, very, very sound. It just is. I kind of feel bad for women in her position, because I feel like they got sold a different bill of goods than they, kind of in the same way that your Eli Drakes or your LA Knights came into this company. There's like a certain, I guess they were kind of around the same time, but there's like a certain archetype of women. I even feel bad for like the Bellas in this, because I feel like Nikki really did work hard to improve, but like AJ and Paige started to set the table, and then the Four Horsewomen showed up, and women's wrestling was completely different. And the people who were booked for 5 minutes occasionally at other shows, like, had to either play catch up or figure something else out. Like it's not to their fault. And Mandy is a lot better in the ring than some of those people. So it's just it's their own WWE's own waffling of how they define how women are going to be used in their own programming that kind of screwed her over. And then the creative start and stop on top of that is just very tricky. But like, no, she doesn't hold a candle to Charlotte, Bianca, Sasha, Bailey.
Right.
Like, no. So it's where does she fit in the picture? Probably in the mid card to the lower card, probably pre-show stuff.
Anyway, so then Raquel drives up on her things like on her motorcycle, say, "I'll handle you later," and then she drives away. And this was actually a better smash cut to her driving into the arena, which is now she's basically become Biker Taker. She's just gonna drive into the arena on a Harley every time, and I'm fine with it. Or it wasn't a Harley, I'm sure, but whatever it was. But she's like, she comes in and it's like, Dakota Kai, get your ass in the ring right now, and then she swears a lot in Spanish. And Dakota Kai does come out, and she is doing her deal. She's doing her, I'm hearing voices, I'm going crazy. She has this weird laugh that was really high pitched and unsettling, and like she's just getting into it. And then Cora Jade runs from behind and attacks her. I was like, no, Cora, this isn't your thing. This is their thing. I want to see Raquel and Dakota. I don't care about Dakota and Cora Jade. I understand why you have an issue with Dakota Kai after last week, but let's be real. She could have killed you and decided not to. She also could have broken your tiny skateboard, and she refrained. So maybe you should be a little bit more accepting of and understanding. Dakota's been going through some stuff. She did all those dark matches on Raw, and they didn't call her up. Like, please be a little bit more like mental health awareness. Let's all be a little bit nicer to Dakota. I think Cora Jade is my own personal take on this. But what did you think?
I just want to see Raquel and Dakota Kai, but I appreciate an attempt at storytelling that makes sense. And I think because we all felt like the loss, having the two of them who both should be winning, face each other last week didn't really make a lot of sense. This at least pays that off. She's pissed about it, and she should be, and she's gonna hurt someone with her tiny teeny baby skateboard.
I think she should put teeny tiny baby thumbtacks all over it.
She should. Oh my god, that's
from Dakota Kai.
But it caught me off guard. I'll say that. It was the most fire we've seen out of her, which was cool.
Yeah.
And they didn't say this is going to be a triple threat, which I really liked. I liked that there was a moment between Cora Jade and Raquel where she said, "Not yet. You don't get to have her yet." That was really, really cool. I liked that moment a lot.
Yeah, that is, and I appreciate also, like, thanks for holding on to my title for me, Mandy. I'm gonna come back for that soon, because she didn't get beaten by Mandy. She got beaten by a shovel to the small of the back. So anyway.
Yeah.
Andre Chase yells at his students. This is not going anywhere. This is a segment that they do over and over again. It's not progressing. He just yells at his students. He's got thin skin and he's got a short temper, and that's it. There's no, what are we doing with this? You've given this man a ridiculous gimmick, and you're not moving his storyline forward at all. Like, I don't know what that is.
Here's what you do with this. He beats every single one of his students up in one segment. He just loses it. And then he spirals out of control because they all ask for their tuition back. And he didn't even know they were really paying tuition. Like, I want the school part of this to unravel so much more than anything else in the story. I want him to get arrested for abuse, and I want there to be headlines in Florida like, teacher snaps, assaults all of his students. That's where this needs to go. But today's lecture was on mental toughness, and I know we got a super chat about Eddie Kingston. So maybe we should talk about how, like, way too much of my morning today was just me crying.
Yeah.
At this piece from Eddie Kingston. I can read the super chat if it's let me find it. If you have it, if you've scrolled to it.
It was just hold on. just taken away. But somebody said I'm sending in a super chat. Okay, so now we get okay. So Luis is there. We go. Mark Losper says, hopefully I haven't missed it. Terrible meeting, ran terribly wrong. As I said on Twitter, please use this super chat to gush about Eddie freaking Kingston. Hashtag Team Kalex rules.
So I'll just say that if you follow the Players Tribune, which is an athlete-driven platform where athletes just get to tell their own stories and are in charge of it, which can be anything from like, hey, I got traded to LA from the Cubs, and I just want to thank the people of Chicago in this open letter or whatever, to what Eddie Kingston did, where I just read it and cried twice. He just talked about his mental health journey, and now knowing what his very real life friend Jon Moxley going into rehab was probably edited into this piece. He talked so honestly, and he's such a freaking badass about his mental health and being depressed and needing help. And when that guy, a guy who you would probably cross the street if you saw him coming down the street kind of guy, someone who very much is could sincerely hurt you, is talking about the pain that he's been in and being suicidal and needing help, and talking about the fact that he was wired this way as a kid, and that depression is something that is sometimes in your head before necessarily anything tragic happens, never mind the upbringing he had, never mind the addiction issues that he spoke about with pill abuse and drinking too much. And he just really spoke so open and honestly that if you think that anybody is unable to, or if you were able to, if anybody could be tougher than this, it would be this guy. If anybody could beat the shit by just muscling through, it would be this guy. For him to talk about it in as raw of a way as it was, and it was written in Eddie Kingston's voice. There was no ghostwriter here, maybe a ghost editor, but he talked about being a kid and being in religion class and them trying to talk about the New Testament and him trying to German suplex someone through the chalkboard. Like, he was an angry, violent kid who found pro wrestling as an outlet, but still had these issues that he had to address as an adult. And then at 38, after being broke, watched his dreams come true. After disappearing into his own life, being saved by Larry Sweeney, who tragically took his own life years later, which he's talked about before. His whole painful trajectory, getting to AEW, not even viewing it as an opportunity. He was pretty blatant about the fact that he was like, oh, cool, if I can go on TV and be able to pay my mortgage this month, was what he was thinking. Like, he talked about how he felt numb. He wasn't even excited about it. It was just a wrestling match that happened to be on television. He didn't know what it meant to be trending online, which is maybe my favorite part of this. And the fans, out of demand, got Eddie Kingston signed. Right when he was going to give up, right when he had a couple of bucks in his pocket and was literally about to sell his boots to pay his mortgage. And it didn't even click in, he said, until weeks later, like, oh my God, I get to tell my nephew that his uncle's a wrestler for real. And for somebody who wasn't there, I always forget he wasn't there from day one of AEW because he's so
no, not at all,
perfectly fit. He's been sniffing around pretty much every title that they have that's, you know, a men's title since he's arrived. For him to just speak so openly about it, you don't get bonus points for going through life without help and therapy. So get the help you need was essentially the message. He just talked so candidly about his mistakes. I was really in tears. And for his dreams to have come true at 38 years old is pretty cool. A lot of people would have given up before that. So just please go to the Players Tribune and read it. You will also be sobbing, I'm sure. Like, I don't know anybody that read that and wasn't moved. But just the biggest badass in the world talking about his struggles I think is such great proof that you can't escape needing help, because if you could, Eddie Kingston would have German suplexed it into a chalkboard at a very young age.
I think everybody has their own favorite part of that article if you've read it. Mine personally was where he was talking about working construction, got in the union, you're working construction, and he's up on a high rise, and there's some guy 70 years old eating his lunch, smoking his cigarette, saying, I got to work a couple more years so I can get my kid in the union, and then I can go. And that was when I said, yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not doing this. I
Yeah,
can't do this. No,
I'm not doing that for my life.
Nope. This is not going to be my life. And I related to that like so much of just the idea of being like looking around an office, like sitting in a cubicle and going like, that's 30 more years of this. Nope. And then I just quit. I can't do this anymore. Can't do office work. Just, believe in yourself in some way and make it work and figure out a way to do the thing that you love. Yeah. It was an amazing piece. And then he went and they made a Road to 2-minute vignette promo that is like honestly one of the greatest things ever committed to film. Like there's the things like this deal, like, like you've been sniffing around all the titles or whatever. And this is a nominally NXT show, and we're going to get right back to it. But with this thing that he wrote and with this promo that he cut and the way that they were able to, with him and Punk deserves at least part of the credit for this because it takes two to tango. But they have built a match that feels like it's 15 years in the making in 2 weeks. And that is a match I am looking forward to on Saturday more than freaking Hangman beating Kenny, which they have literally been building on TV for 2 years.
Yeah.
We have a super chat about James Bauer says, to bring up happier thoughts, how explosive will the pop be for Hangman at Full Gear? It will tear the roof off the Target Center, and it's going to be cold there. So when the roof flies off, it's going to get really cold in the building. So I hope everybody brought a nice down jacket. Yeah. Charles Hollier says, Gabagool to you, and also with you.
And also with you.
Either of y'all be making it out for the Hangman climax? I will not be making it. No. But it appears that I will be on the post show on Fightful YouTube. So come hang out with us after the show. We'll all be crying tears of joy for Hangman and also hopefully for Eddie, because I need him to win that match.
Oh man, you know what? There's just the fans win.
Yeah,
it could either result could be so interesting. Like, I think Punk is still gonna win, but because they've set him up to be the John Cena of this feud, like I just think this could run another 2 matches. You could run it back and Eddie just loses his mind. You could have Punk lose and be like, what am I even doing here? There's just so many turns that you could take with this, and they've built it in such a short time.
Yeah.
It's truly impressive. Truly impressive.
Also join us for the watch along, the Fightful Full Gear watch along on Twitch or the YouTube for the Distraction podcast, because people will be watching that through the whole thing. After this, we got Cameron Grimes versus Ru Fang squash. Ru Fang is my favorite because I don't know why, but whenever I see Ru Fang, I think RuPaul, and then I just picture Ru Fang walking out going, "You better work," and I just think it's the funniest thing in the world. But so he wins the squash, but Duke Hudson comes out to watch part of the match, and then afterwards he gets into the ring to cut a promo on Grimes about losing to him in poker, and the rubes in the audience decided to what everything he said, and like, don't what?
Oh my god!
Stop whatting, you
stop the what chant,
fucking rubes. I can't with it anymore. It's not 1999, and for God's sake.
never been NXT. I know we're in a reboot, but for the love of God.
And yeah, anyway. This is why I thought that the thing last week should have gone differently. If you have Duke Hudson win in his own game, the story can then be basically Cameron Grimes chasing that victory over Duke, who embarrassed him. The chase is much better for the face to be doing. When you have the heel chasing the face after we already saw you, Duke, lose at your best thing that you do, according to this stupid character that they wrote for you. I think Duke Hudson is a fine wrestler, but this is all he does. Is he plays poker. And then he comes out and he says, I challenge you in this ring next week to beat me at poker. And I don't know if there's something less interesting than a contract signing that could happen at a table inside a wrestling ring, but maybe heads up poker is it. Because poker really only works the right way when there are like 8 guys at the table or girls. When everybody has a chance to have the cards that you're looking at, heads up, it becomes really, really boring. It's like, well, I have a pair of 2s. That probably beats his 10-6 all in, and then we see what happens. And that's really boring when it gets heads up. Sometimes it gets really boring. Then also it's going to be scripted poker in the ring. Like, you better make sure you shuffled that deck correct. Like,
I don't know, Alex. Something tells me they might not even get to play poker. Okay. I had huge issues with the what chant. I had huge issues with the green lighting because it looked like it was supposed to be a Nickelodeon slime segment.
Yep.
I had huge issues with Cameron Grimes telling us he smells. You're a millionaire. Figure out deodorant in a shower. The one line that I liked.
Yeah.
That wasn't even meant to be funny. That was just literally like logic.
No, it's just so true. I didn't think about that. Like maybe I smell a little funny. Well, dude, how about deodorant? Have you ever thought of it? They have really expensive deodorant that you can use that will help you smell.
There's showers literally backstage, buddy. The one line that I liked was when Duke Hudson said, you don't know what it feels like for a guy like me to lose to a guy like you. That was the only line in this whole thing that I was invested in. And I bought it because I'm like, all right, if he's going to lose, the thing then has to be that. You don't know what it feels like for me to lose to this guy, right? Perfect. And then I was like, all right, I can buy into this match. I think they'll be really good in the ring. And then they said it was poker. And I wanted to throw my phone through my television. Because it's not going to be poker, Alex. No. They're going to have their cards. And then Duke Hudson's going to get real mad because in the first round of poker, Cameron Grimes beat him again. And darn it, he's just going to have to put Cameron Grimes through that table. And that's what it's going to be.
Yep. And it doesn't feel like this is a feud that is going to be high profile enough for them to like do a blow off at War Games. So then like you can't then like it's just a thing that you're going to just do. You're just going to do it.
Alex, it's just a thing that they're going to do.
Yep. So here's the thing they're going to do next week that I am into. They're interviewing Persia Parada and Indy Hartwell backstage, and Indy starts to talk about her husband's penis, and Persia's like, "Stop it! Nobody needs to hear about this."
Thank God, because I feel the same way.
Yeah, and then Tony walks up. Tony D'Angelo, our favorite guy in the world. He's like, hey, listen. Yeah, your husband, he's been ducking me. I've been trying to find your husband, Dexter Loomis, but when he meets me in the ring next week, I'm going to beat him up so bad you're going to be back on the market. But listen, speaking of market, I picked this up down by the docks. Here it is. It's a fish. It's a fish inside a newspaper. It says, to Dexter Loomis. And I want you to give it to him. He's going to know what it means. Hey, gabagool. I'll see you later. why is this guy only on the show for 20 seconds? Like, you should build the shows around him. He's obviously super over with the crowd, with the meme verse online. Like, he's a big time deal. Like, you should don't do another one of these episodes where he's only around for like 15 seconds. I don't know.
He also got real over the Lash Legend thing in a hurry, huh? There's not nearly enough of these emojis in the chat, by the way. I don't know what's wrong with you people, but you should all be sending in these. Every single one of you. Because we can't keep Gabagool. Keep cool Gabagool unless you do that. See, I screwed up saying it because nobody's doing this.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I agree with you. They should expand his role here, but I'm also on the belief that you don't want to burn people out. So cycling is okay. I hope we get Tony D'Angelo in the ring soon.
We're gonna get him in the ring versus Dexter Lumis next week. That's been
that's right. Yeah, this is fun because just like so much death. A serial killer versus a mobster.
I know, it's great, isn't it? It's like Tony Soprano versus Dexter, and I'm so here for it.
I forgot about this. Yeah, I tweeted. I was like, I've never been more exciting for a wrestling match in my life. This rules. Sorry, Full Gear. A serial killer and his dad hanging out.
Yeah.
Versus a mobster.
And the thing about it is that they've also got Dexter Lumis in this Johnny Gargano, Carmelo, Pete Dunne thing. He's ancillary to that. So I wonder if they're gonna like fold in Tony D'Angelo into that whole thing as well. He's also called out Pete Dunne. He wants Pete Dunne, and I want to see Tony D'Angelo versus Pete Dunne. That could be a lot of fun. But like and I love that also he knows who he is. Like he aped the guy on TikTok who went viral for wearing a weird like velour tracksuit and pretending to be a mobster. So then he just did an impression of that guy while wearing the same tracksuit. I thought that was hilarious. He knows exactly what he is. If you accept this is the stupid gimmick you're giving me, I'm going to play it perfectly, and I'm also going to be in on the joke about what a ridiculous gimmick this is, then you've won me over totally. And I really enjoyed this.
Since I demanded everybody do those emojis, I know they're not super chats, but we should probably pull them up on the screen if you could.
Let's see, there's that. Well, see, that the whole thing is that is. Oh my! But not even coming
everybody
through.
Did it. I'm really proud of them. Thank you.
Go. Yeah.
Thank you,
good.
Tony Hive.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Now we got another thing. I'm worried about Santos Escobar. I'm worried about Santos Escobar. We haven't seen him in a long time. They keep talking about how there's a bunch of other people who might be on the chopping block for NXT, people who are older, and they're thinking about like maybe Danny Burch, maybe Timothy Thatcher. Please, like you can release him if you want. He can go anywhere. He's really great, but like, just don't do it like this. Like, don't just without a word transfer Legado del Fantasma from Santos Escobar to Elektra Lopez and never mention him again. Like he was the whole reason the thing existed. He's Legado del Fantasma because he is El Hijo del Fantasma. There is no Fantasma without Santos Escobar. And she walks out and she's like, I'm in charge. I'm Il Madrina now. And the two goobers who are part of the tag team, they follow her words now. She's in charge. She's like, you don't say no to El Legado del Fantasma. Like, are you in charge? I love Santos Escobar. I think he's great, and
he's phenomenal.
I would just like to know if he's okay.
So we have to talk about the fact that there was a match before this segment too, because it was so short but really bad. Like, she should not be in the ring right now. Unfortunately, there was like a sequence that looked like they were trying to turn it into a submission, but it just turned into they were just dancing, and then that powerbomb thing, whatever that was, not good. So she clearly needs more help in the ring. I don't know if she needs to be in the ring. This like flirtatious thing with Cy and Quinn feels like a weird telenovela that they are trying to let play out. I just don't understand why if you call Hit Row up, you don't also call up them.
I said it at the same time. It just doesn't make sense.
It
Yeah.
just makes no sense. But yeah, Escobar's like incredible. So I don't know if they're gonna cut him. I mean, they cut BFAB from Hit Row. Like they just clearly don't care about the identity of these factions. So, but unless he wants to go, which is possible, like what else is he gonna do here? Really, he would be a great like cruiserweight-ish title defense.
Yeah, I mean he's a former cruiserweight champion. Like have him face Roderick Strong. I don't know. It's just so weird that like we haven't even heard him mentioned. He hasn't been seen.
Yeah, it's not
I
good. That's not a
yeah.
good sign to me. Like the fact that he hasn't been acknowledged.
It's just so weird. Like it's like, oh, she's in charge now, and like we're never gonna mention him, but like he's the whole reason this whole faction exists. I don't know. Like he's one of my all time favorite like personal favorite wrestlers because I loved this guy in Lucha Underground. Him as King Cuerno was just that guy was just so freaking badass. I loved him in Lucha Underground, and so I was so excited when that guy was going to wind up on NXT. And I really enjoyed like the whole besuited luchador who takes the mask off to wrestle thing. I think that's really cool. And it's weird if he's just going to like, no, he's gone. Goodbye. So anyway, yeah, Elektra Lopez says what Il Madrina wants, Il Madrina gets. I want Zion Quinn. And the weirdest thing about this whole deal is that apparently the reason that she's so attracted to Zion Quinn is because of that abomination karaoke thing he did last week. And that's what not that he's won all of his matches, not that he's incredibly attractive. I mean, my God. And not that he's like built like a friggin' brick shithouse.
Like,
no,
hey,
it's because he did a
you
bad
sang Sexy Boy last week.
He sang Sexy Boy badly and danced badly, like objectively badly. Nobody thinks that looked good.
No.
Sounded good. But that is the reason why she wants to jump his bones. And I just feel like there are other reasons to do that. You didn't need to do that segment at all, but certainly not to like get this angle over. But anyway, he comes out and she says, I want you to join Legado del Fantasma. And that was where I was like, hold on. You don't get to decide that. That's Santos's thing. You don't get to, like, what are we doing? And he's like, well, I'd love to, but I'm not going to join the thing. And then nobody says no, says Joaquin Wilde, and they get their asses kicked. And then she tries to slap him, and they do the thing that you do in all the plays. Old plays, like Tennessee Williams plays, like whenever you're acting them, and there's always like a scene between like the woman and the guy who they're like, she's like, how dare you say such a horrible thing to me, I'm going to slap you. And he catches her wrist and he pulls her close and then they kiss. And like that's a thing that like Only Men wrote in 1942, and it's just a weird thing. Like but anyway, they try and do that briefly, and then he leaves, and they're the other two guys, Mendoza and Wilde, are going to chase him. But she's like, no, leave him. I'm like, this is what you're going to do with Legado del Fantasma with Santos Escobar out.
I don't understand. If she's the only one that wants him, why does anybody else in the faction? Why are they like, no, you must stay? Like, they don't give a crap. They're not attracted to him.
The tag team, like, they're obviously followers. They're henchmen. No matter, like, it's. I mean, it felt like when they recruited Elektra Lopez for the faction, she was immediately second in command. And I guess with Santos not around for whatever reason, she just takes over the faction. But yeah.
So this also is where that squash being bad actually really took me out of it. I was like, you do not seem like a commanding figure in any way, shape, or form when the match was like, it was like 3 moves and 2 of them were bad. Like that really actually took my wind out of it when she could not beat the Dropperooski there. But just keep her as a valet. And I also didn't appreciate, commentary was mostly good tonight. Them being like, why does she need them here to talk to Zion Quinn? Like, to an embarrassing standpoint for like 10 minutes was real weird.
Yeah.
Why must they be at ringside when she's squashing this woman? Why? Why must she stand with them when she wants to be with Zion Quinn? It's like, come on, we know how wrestling works. Like, don't call it out.
Yeah. Luis says, Kion, hermano, ya eres Mexicano. He's invited to the carne asada for defending Santos, says Luis. So good. Yes. Zion Quinn. He knows how it works.
He does.
So here we go.
To be done in 34 seconds.
30 seconds. And we will be, I'm sure. Here's it's the main event, and then it's the super chats portion of the evening. With the interview, Pete Dunne backstage. Pete Dunne, he's Pete Dunne. He's like, I'm the baddest man in NXT. I'm gonna Tony D'Angelo called me out. He doesn't want any piece of this. And then Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams come up. You are the baddest man on Twitter, and we want you like. And then Pete Dunne's like, how about I break your fingers tonight in the ring? And like, okay, great. And then we get this match. And I honestly thought they were going to put Carmelo over Pete because I didn't know what the hell they had plans for Pete now. Like, I know he signed a long-term deal, but like, it does not seem to be Pete's NXT anymore. Like, he was on a really hot streak going into NXT 2.0. Like, he was beating everybody they put in front of him. And he wasn't getting title matches out of it. So I thought that was going to be his thing. And no.
Just remember Pete Dunne versus Walter. I just think about that match. And
I just remember Pete Dunne versus Kushida from a few months ago.
Oh my God.
But it was Kushida was the Cruiserweight Championship, but Pete Dunne didn't care about the title. He just wanted to prove he was a better wrestler than Kushida, and he did.
What a crazy thought. Wrestlers just wanting to prove that they're better than other wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the first of all, the match was fantastic. Like, Carmelo Hayes is a star. Pete Dunne is great. There were things about the way that they worked that are similar, that are beautiful overlap, and the things that are different are really different. And I like Pete Dunne just always, to me, has some really good psychology in the ring, which I appreciate. There was a lot of that here. Loved the match. I don't get the booking. It just makes your at a glance champion.
Yeah.
First of all, it makes this big deal about cashing in on that title, right? But earlier we had Blonde Uso just demanding matches, and it's like, well, then why do you even need your at a glance portfolio?
Yeah.
If you're just going to be able to demand matches against whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm not offended by the booking. Like, I'm glad to see Pete Dunne looking strong, but it's like, this is one of those ones where I'm like, well, why'd you have this matchup? Because both of them kind of should have won.
Yeah.
It was a great match, what we saw, but like, both of them booking wise could have probably used W's right now.
Right. I'm watching this match and I go, God damn it, Pete Dunne is one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. Great. And I honestly said this. If that dude was 6'5", he'd have been world champion by now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things, like, Vince looks at him like, no, you're too short. And that's it. Like, that's all of it. Like, then also, like, when he went away for the pandemic and came back, looked like he had just been eating nails. Like, he was just made of iron. And I was like, I don't know. I just love this guy so much. And I really enjoy Carmelo. I think he's really, really good in the ring. It's like, and so it was one of those things like, well, I don't think either a guy should lose this. And I mean, I don't want Pete Dunne to lose, but also, can we just not pin our champions in non-title matches? Could that be a thing we don't do, just like as a rule? And apparently not, because Dexter Lumis got there and really scared Trick Williams. But he was on commentary, but he wasn't on commentary because he didn't comment.
He didn't talk.
And then a different gloved hand reached out from under the ring and pulled on Carmelo's leg, and then he took the bitter end and he got pinned. And Gargano's there. So Gargano and Lumis are involved, and Pete Dunne was looking at Gargano like, you want a piece of this too? So I think we're going to get Gargano, Dunne, and Mello at War Games. Yeah, that was, yeah. Jay Shell says, sending this humper chat to remind you guys how much I love my husband, Mello. He's very, very good. The Bad to One Jam Beard makes a prediction that I do not think is going to come true. Loomis, Gargano, and Tony D versus Trick, Mello, and Pete Dunne at War Games. No, I do not think that's going to be the War Games match.
I want Murder on Murder War Games. I want Gacy and Harland and Goldberg, I guess. You gotta have somebody that murders in there, right?
Yeah, that's true. Luis saying that he misses 2016, 2017 Peter Dune. He was amazing. If you're not really familiar with him and you have the Peacock thing, go back and watch the inaugural NXT UK tournament. Before they had NXT UK, they had NXT UK title. And that guy came out of nowhere. No one knew who the hell this guy was. And he had a legit story through the whole thing as being this little guy with a chip on his shoulder who just wanted to ruin everyone's Christmas. Like, he was just the biggest little badass, and I've always loved him since then.
He's a tiny little Grinch.
And that you're a mean one, Mr. Dunn. But
there's gonna be so many holiday songs for William Regal to
sing. But that was how he originally ran afoul of William Regal, and William Regal just hated this guy, and Triple H was like, you know what, I like you. You remind me of me, and that was how they started with him. It was great. Cloud Chips has said that Tony D is going to kill Gargano off NXT TV. Wouldn't that be fun? If they gave him that rub, that would be good.
I love that idea.
That would be good. That would be good. Okay, here we go, people. We're going into the home stretch. Home stretch.
Get your humper chats.
Get your humper chats in.
And leave a thumbs up on this video.
Leave a thumbs up. There are like 500 of you watching, so I want to see at least 300 thumbs ups.
Impressions.
Chris Reigns says the promo that Eddie did on the Road to video on YouTube was truly amazing. It's seek it out. It's a perfect 2 minutes. Like, there's nothing, no notes. I would not change a thing about it. It's amazing. Josh Gardena says, you think Punk gets booed at Full Gear? Man, Bryan Danielson got booed in that match versus Kingston. That they are not going to be able to stop Eddie from becoming champion. Like, they are going to he's going to be their guy that, like, the fans just will to it. They're going to have to put a belt on Eddie Kingston sometime in the next 6 months. He's gotten to be an absolute cult superhero with that crowd.
And I think people would have respected the heel turn more if it was going to be him and Mox turning heel at the same. I think they might have set up CM Punk and Bryan Danielson versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston.
They're not going to boo for Eddie Kingston.
They can't. They
do
now
do it.
Especially they won't. I think they might have played along if it was him and Mox, but now there's not a shot in hell.
But James Bauer says, talking us back to the raves discussion, with all this new young talent and tapping into the very relevant rave culture, we need to get that Russell Crowe fella hot off his new smash hit Gladiator. It'll be such good shit, says James Bowers.
Can I pop for Gladiator? That's amazing.
Talking about war games and not war games. Pat McAfee is forever goated, says the nerd guru, for the build to last year into War Games. I miss the NXT version of him. Yeah, man. He's got to get back in the ring soon, because that guy, as much as I enjoy a lot of his stuff on SmackDown commentary, he was really, really good for a guy who'd never done that shit before.
He was weirdly good.
Yeah. And also one of the best heel promos in all of WWE for some reason. So the Valob says, I'm somewhat interested in how a 2.0 PPV is going to go. You can't have 5-minute matches with an ad break on a pay-per-view. They can't do a lot of skits either. Yeah. I think that a lot of these people, the ones near the top, can do the long match. I think Carmelo and Pete Dunne, certainly. Carmelo, Pete Dunne, and Johnny Gargano can do a 20-minute triple threat match and be fine. I think you're probably going to get Breakker versus Ciampa again, and Breakker is going to go over, and they're going to tell that story right. Because it's going to be good. So here we go. Jay Shell. Wait, hold on. Ryan Sullivan says, "You're still going?" Poor Sean. Sean he'll be fine. And he also, Ryan Sullivan says, "I know it's not Halloween, but can you guys dress as Seth and Becky from Monday night?" No, I am not going to dress like that. And she's gonna try and do her weird, like her weird freaking mohawk thing that she did. Go ahead, Kate, do the thing.
Wait, you do an impression. I'll go get my sunglasses.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. The bad the one Jam Beard asked for Tony D to cut a promo on a guy who is not worth our time to mention. So I'm just gonna say I'll do this instead. Not for nothing, but there's this girl out there, Denise Salcedo, and I think she's doing a fantastic job. If she's out there listening, I'm not saying she is, but if she was out there listening, I would tell her you're doing a fantastic job. And anybody out there who says you're not, they can go straight to hell. That's all I'm going to say to them.
What a load of BS that is, huh?
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that guy. Jay Shell says that she sent some Humper chats, and now she's sending a super chat for my congratulations from Tony D, as I said that I would. Well, here we go. Jay Shell, as they call you, Soup Sour Graps, Shelly. I heard you're following your dreams, and believe me, as Tony D'Angelo, I can say, when you follow your dreams, you never know where you might end up. Personally, I ended up on the docks, throwing some Goomba over the side in his concrete shoes to sleep with the fishes. But you apparently ended up at bodyslam.net, and let me tell you, that Cass has got himself a gem, a diamond in the rough. And I think you're going to do fantastic. You're already a freaking superstar. And you're going to kill it over there, as you already are. So congratulations, Jay Shell, on your new job.
Are you seriously going to just keep no-selling how quickly I pulled together this Becky Lynch look?
No, it's fantastic. It's great.
I crushed it.
You did crush it. Yes, you did crush it. I don't think the sunglasses are quite big enough. They should take up most of your face and then like come out a few inches from your face. Yeah. Can you? Is there any? Do you have any of those like novelty giant sunglasses people wear when they're like clowns or whatever? You find those?
I don't think so.
It would be so great if you did. It would be so great if you did. Okay, so here we go. Here's where I am supposed to sing things. The Nerd Guru, before I sing something, the Nerd Guru says Pete Dunne versus Bryan Danielson. That's the message. Yes, well, we would all hope for that at some point.
Kushida versus Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, all those things, all the things versus Bryan Danielson versus everybody.
The world.
So here we go. Dark Saturday says, all I want for Christmas is Tony D'Angelo singing the Sopranos theme. Well, it's not Christmas yet. So there. But here I'm gonna say hold on a second. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Mama always said you'd be the chosen one. She said, you're 1 in a million. You got to burn to shine, but you were born under a bad sign with the blue moon in your eyes. Yeah, they woke up this morning. You got yourself a gun. That's the short version. But thank you very much for the super chat. And then we got Starheart Nico Rigoli, who says, watch the Supergirl finale instead of NXT. That show got much better send off than everyone WWE fired last week. True. Can Tony D'Angelo please sing Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley? Yes. Here we go. We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
Gabagool.
Gabagool, and also with you. That's a fun one. That's
Really fun.
That's one of my favorites so far. And then the final one, as is tradition, regal rap from Zach Barber requesting "California Love" by Tupac. Here we go. Gotta get a drink of water for you. This one. All right, here we go. California knows how to party. California knows how to party. In the city of LA. In the city of Old Good Watts. In the city of Compton. We keep it rocking. We keep it rocking. Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. This track hits your eardrum like a slug to your chest. Pack a vest for your Jimmy in the city of sex. Good Lord. We in the Sunshine State where the bomb-ass hemp be. The state where you never find a dance floor empty. And pimps be on a mission for them greens. Them lean, mean, money-making machines serving fiends. Fiends? I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes ever since Honeys was wearing Sassoon. Now it's 95 and they clock me and watch me, diamond shining looking like I robbed Liberace. It's all good from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the bomb if your city make it pay. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Dre putting it down for California. War games.
He's gonna give you like Rap God by Eminem. He's gonna give you something so difficult at some point.
Yeah, no, I'm just reading the lyrics. This is not coming in.
No, that was some flow. That's some flow, man.
Luis says, I hope Dr. Dre invites you to perform at the Super Bowl after that. That'd be nice. JW Pringle says, as Tony D say that Kate's father, here we go. Okay, so Tony D, here we go. Kate's father, you deny me entry to the family on this night of your daughter's show. I now make you an offer you can't refuse. A nice MLT sandwich where the mutton is nice and lean, gabagool.
He has a name, okay? It's Tall Paul.
Yeah.
Tall Paul.
Tall Paul. And Thick Astley says that's literally the joke of my username I joined into. Damn, gabagool.
So good. Thick Astley is such a great handle.
Thanks everybody for listening. We're only our sweet spot 2 hours and 17 minutes.
17
We're gonna get down below 17 minutes beyond, but that's it. Just like the mutton sandwich, we are nice and lean tonight. So 2 hours and 17 minutes. Also, plus Kate saying where you can find her.
I will. We also had a last minute super chat. I was going to say, is it a humber chat? No, just a good old gabagool to you too, Robert Aquatic.
Gabagool.
Thank you for getting that in at the last second. You can find me at Kate on Deck IC on Twitter. You can also find me on the Mark Order podcast every Wednesday at Mark Order Pod. You can catch me tomorrow on Sports Kita, where I'll actually be doing predictions for full gear, and you can catch me Fridays, not with Sean this week, with TK Trinidad doing AEW Rampage and SmackDown post show. So a pod every day this week.
Yeah, you can find me on the Twitter at Alex Sourgraps. On Fightful Select, I do shows about Raw and SmackDown. They suck. And then I'm going to talk about Dynamite tomorrow, which is not going to suck. That's going to be awesome because we're gonna get Pac versus Dax Harwood, and I can't freaking wait. Plus
Wait,
other things.
what?
And then I'm gonna be on the post show for Full Gear, I believe, with Jeremy Lambert and Will Washington, which should be a fun little distraction and Grapsody and Sour Graps crossover, which will be a lot of fun. And so
Yeah,
we'll
no,
be doing
I wasn't invited.
I listen. I had to beg to get on that show, so I got to say something about the Full Gears. So catch us on that on Saturday after the show. And thank you all for joining us. We love you. Good night and keep cool.
Gabagool.